We have State Representative Bobby Kaufman. Where's Bobby? Where's Bobby? Bobby, thank you, Bobby. What a job they're doing. Mike Sexton. Mike, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Good job. State Senators Tim Cranbrink. Thank you, Tim. These are all people that endorsed. People that don't endorse, we don't have them. Now they're all calling, the sanctimonious bomb. He bombed. He doesn't like ethanol, he doesn't like Social Security, and he doesn't like Medicare. Other than that, he's doing quite well, right? Brad's on. Brad. Brad. He was the first. Come on, Brad, come on. Get up here, Brad. Fast, fast, fast. Come on. He was the first one in the whole country to endorse me. I didn't even know I was running. Come here. You want to say something? Come on, go ahead.
Is he awesome or what? Yay! The next President of the United States, and I'm honored to be the first person to endorse you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. You bet.
Thank you. I call him the Marlboro Man. He looks like the Marlboro Man to me. He could do anything. But it's true. He endorsed me before I even ran. He said, there's a guy in New York that'd be great. We got to get him, Trump. And not too long after that, we announced. So he was definitely our first endorsement and a great, wonderful guy. And these people have been there with me from the beginning. And another one that's been here, and he's a terrific person, a great football player, by the way, Matt Whitaker, who's around someplace. Matt's around someplace. Thank you, Matt. He's a very, very loyal and wonderful man. He really has. He's been a wonderful man. And he's got a very special person looking down on him, because a very special person who passed away not so long ago is looking down on Matt. And Matt is amazing. I mean, what you have to go through. But I just want to thank you, and that's true. That person, you know who we're talking about, looking down on you. Terrific person, a great football player, by the way, Matt.
States, and I'm honored to be the.
He could do anything. But it's true. He endorsed me before I even ran. He said, there's a guy in New York that'd be great. We got to get him, Trump. And not too long after that, we announced. So he was definitely our first.
United States, and I'm honored to be the first person to endorse you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. You bet.
Thank you. I call him the Marlboro Man. He looks like the Marlboro Man to me. He could do anything. But it's true. He endorsed me before I even ran. He said, there's a guy in New York that'd be great. We got to get him, Trump. And not too long after that, we announced. So he was definitely our first endorsement and a great, wonderful guy. And these people have been there with me from the beginning. And another one that's been here, and he's a terrific person, a great football player, by the way, Matt Whitaker, who's around someplace. Matt's around someplace. Thank you, Matt. He's a very, very loyal and wonderful man. He really has. He's been a wonderful man. And he's got a very special person looking down on him, because a very special person who passed away not so long ago is looking down on Matt. And Matt is amazing. I mean, what you have to go through. But I just want to thank you, and that's true. That person, you know who we're talking about, looking down on you and proud of his father, okay? And here today, we're really talking about commit to caucus. Do you ever hear that expression? Don't forget, you have the caucus, and you're first in the nation because of a certain person named Trump. Don't let anyone tell you it was somebody else. Now, the people I introduced, they're pushing me very hard, but we decided to do that, and we wanted to do it, and we did it. And I made that promise to you a long time ago. You'll never be anywhere else but exactly where you are, first in the nation. Exactly 91 days. Can you imagine? 91 days. Are you ready? Are you ready? Wow. We had a very bad thing happen in the last election, and I said, either we're going to flip it, we're going to get honest people, or we're going to just have to wait and do it. And we set a record. We did much better in the second one than we did in the first one. We set a record in votes. We got 12 million more votes. But just think of it. And I said, one way or the other, but the other we have to wait 4 years. Now 4 years is down to 91 days before we start with the caucus. and we're going to have great success. We won, as you know, we won the election twice by a lot in Iowa. And it's not a Republican, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's not necessarily a guaranteed Republican deal here. You had other people win it. We won't mention their names, but they won. But we won it twice, and we won it by a lot. And I sounded very cocky. They said, please don't say that again, sir. I said, how the hell do I lose Iowa? I got $28 billion for the farmers, right? $28 billion. They said, sir, you shouldn't take it, take it for granted, I guess they would tell me. Please don't take it for granted, sir. It doesn't sound right. But I got $28 billion, so I'm taking it for granted. Who the hell? And the money came from China. You think getting $28 billion from China, because what they did to you is they took advantage of Iowa and the farm states, a very serious advantage for a long time. And I found out how much it was, and they said it's $28 billion. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. No other president took in 10 cents. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And no president ever even asked them. No president would. Do you think Biden would say, the farmers in Iowa and Nebraska and different states, Wisconsin, they got very, very badly hurt. And we think you should pay $28 billion. And I didn't do it exactly that way. I did it a little bit differently than that. But it was a very effective approach, obviously, because they paid you $28 billion. And a lot of people in this room have big, beautiful tractors and extra land. I said, here's what you have to do. Just stick with me. We're going to make a great trade deal. Because, we did the USMCA. We did a lot of great things. But the best deal was the deal I made with China, where they pay $50 billion. Originally it was $15 billion. The number was always 15. That was at their maximum. That's what they got. And I went to my people and I said, what's the number you're talking? They said 15. So they said 15. I said, oh, okay. So I thought they meant 50. In other words, I misunderstood them. So I started telling everybody, I'm going to get you 50. They said, sir, it's 15. I said, it's too late. I've already said it. No, I said, so get me 50. We want 50. They went back. They said, we have to have 50. He's not going to take less than 50. And they got it. We got it. So think of that one. It says, something wrong with my hearing? What's going on over here? I thought they said 50. Actually, that turned out to be a very good thing. And it was a great deal. But then COVID came, and that was a whole new ballgame. I sort of I don't even talk about that deal, but that was one of the greatest deals. And, the one thing is you have to have a president that knows how to push it. I'd go to the office every day, and I'd say, how's China doing today? Are they buying? Are they buying? Are they buying? Because they have to buy it. And with me, they bought. With Biden, they're not buying like they're supposed to be buying. They're sort of letting it sleep a little bit. They're going to other countries to curry favor. But pretty soon we'll have them buying again, won't we? We'll have them buying again. But still, I say that the economy, basically, it's just running on our firms. We had the greatest economy in history. And the only reason we're doing okay now, and it's not very good, it's heading south very fast. Gasoline just hit $5.50 a gallon. You saw that. We were at $1.87. We're actually lower than that at some points. But it just hit $5, $5.50. In California, it's up to $7 and $8. So here we go again. Here we go again with this guy. But I told you, buy larger tractors and more land. Remember when I was negotiating with China? It took a while, but the farmers were very loyal. They didn't say, oh, what's he doing? Because for a while, I said, you're going to suffer for a little while. It's like I called a good negotiation. But I said that to the farmers, and they said, whatever it is. I'll never forget, I watched a show. Are you angry with President Trump? He said, no, he's doing the right thing. It's going to take pain. And it was painful for about 6-7 months. Remember, they took away, they didn't buy anything, didn't they? They purposely didn't buy anything. But the farmers stuck. All they wanted was a flat, nice, even playing field. They didn't want anything. And I tell the story where I had 28 or 32 farmers at the Oval Office, and we were talking, and I said, I'm going to get you subsidy, and we're going to get this and that. And one of them looked at me, speaking for the whole group, said, sir, we don't want subsidy. We just want a level playing field, and we're better than anybody else in the world. And that's what I got you. And not a lot of people say that. To be honest with you, not a lot of people say that to me. Usually, if I say subsidy, it's fine. They'll take it any way you give it to them. But the farmers didn't want that. They just wanted a level playing field. I never forgot that meeting. I thought it was incredible. Together, we're going to win for Iowa and the Iowa caucuses. We're going to have a historic landslide. We want to start off really strong with that. And That's an important, right? That's an important event. That's going to be a very important event. People are watching. They're saying, maybe, we're up like 60 points on DeSanctimonious and all these other people, Bird Brain. No, we're up like 60 points. So they say, maybe, just maybe we can do something. If we could do something in Iowa, maybe we could change the tide. But every week we go up in Iowa. We're already at a level. You can't go up too much higher. Too much higher, the scale breaks, right? But we're doing great here, and we're going to always do great here, I think. I really believe that. I really believe it. In November, we're going to do something. We're going to make America great again. You see what's happening to our country. You see what's happening in the Middle East. All that stuff would never have happened. Israel would never have been attacked. Ukraine would never have been attacked. I mean, go back to Ukraine. It was attacked because of the incompetence of Afghanistan, the way they move. I mean, Putin's looking back and he sees this guy that can't even put two sentences together. They leave Afghanistan. They take the soldiers out first. No, but you don't take the soldiers out first. You take the soldiers out last. The soldiers don't mind. They took the soldiers out first, and it was like a free-for-all. They left back $85 billion worth of brand new equipment that was bought by me. You know, we rebuilt our whole military. We did a great job with that. We had fighter jets that were 48 years old. We rebuilt our military. And cars, give them armor plate, $1 million a piece, armor plated, 4 inches of steel, and you say, why did you leave it? Why did you leave it? We weren't leaving it. I said even take out the leather hangers, you know, to make it actually have leather. You think of plastic, but with the government, they sort of get leather instead because, you know, they always go the most expensive route. But the hangers, I said, I want every nut, I want every bolt, I want every screw that's laying on the ground, I want everything to go out. And one of them said to me, Millie, he said, sir, it would be cheaper if we left everything. I said, where does this guy come? Where does he come from? A brand new airplane cost $128 million, right? I said, you mean you think it's cheaper to leave it than to fill it up with a little fuel and fly it the hell out to, even if you just fly it to Pakistan, then you bring it back home or you fly it back home. Most of them can make that journey, right? Oh, it's better to leave it there. Oh, I don't want to tell you what I had to go through with these people. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. But but you know what? But our military is great. We had some of the most incredible. Don't forget, we defeated ISIS in 4 weeks, less. I was told it took 4 years, sir, maybe 3, 4 years. What, 4 years? And I went over to Iraq and I met with people and generals and sergeants. I met with everybody and I said, what do you think? So we could do it in less than 4 weeks. And I said, they tell me 4 years. We can do it in less than 4 years. He's the one general, he was fantastic. He said to me, sir, I'm just telling you, 4 weeks and we have time left over. And I said, well, I'm not getting the same stuff. Why is it that didn't work? Well, what they do is, I call them the television generals. They'd come over and they'd tell these guys what to do, and they'd do it. I said, but don't you say that you're not supposed to do that? I mean, we can do it much better. Sir, that's not our position. When the high rankers, they call them high rankers, come over from Washington, we do what they tell us to do. I said, so why is it so bad? Well, they want to use the one base that's very far away. And they didn't want to be, politically incorrect. So they didn't want to use other bases that they had all over the place. And he said, sir, we can use those bases, and we'll hit them from the left, we'll hit them from the right, we'll hit them from the bottom, we'll hit them from the top. They won't know what the hell happened, sir. And that's what happened. And I got it knocked off. And you know the longer version of the story, which is a cool story, but I won't bore you with it. I can only tell you this, that our military is amazing. It's amazing. We have a great military. And it's not going woke. It's not going. We're not going to have our military be woke, fellas, okay? You don't want a woke. You don't want a woke. I don't think he wants a woke military. It's not going to go woke. They would like to have it woke, but we're not going to let that happen. But now we have death and destruction all over the planet because we have the worst and most incompetent president in the history of our country. He's incompetent. He's only good at weaponizing justice against political people and religious people, frankly, a lot of religious people. What a shame. If they spent the same energy on defeating all of the enemies that we have more enemies now. You know, we had all peace. You know that. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton, which I don't call it that anymore because I'm using, I call her beautiful Hillary, right? Beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. But remember when beautiful Hillary went out and she said, he'll cause war. Here's his personality. He'll cause war in our country. I said, no, I'll end war. And I was right. I didn't have any wars. I'm the only president in like 80 years that didn't have a war. I got rid of ISIS. We won ISIS. We beat ISIS. We did a lot of things nobody can believe. But we didn't start a war. They started wars in the Middle East that they never finished. They blew the place up. You know, it was like obliterated. And then they left with nothing. I used to say, don't start a war, but if you're going to have it, like with Iraq, keep the oil. Do you remember I used to say that? Just as a civilian. I was like you. I was watching people. I'd say, keep the oil. They have hundreds of billions. Iraq has tremendous amounts of oil right now. I said, keep the oil. And they didn't keep the oil. They kept nothing. We went in, lost a lot of lives, bombed the hell out of the place. I mean, what happened there? You know, you had, I don't know if you know, just a quick look. So for thousands of years, you had Iran and Iraq, and they were actually almost equal. And they'd fight each other, fight. That's all they do is fight, you know, fight. And they'd come to a stalemate, then they'd rest for a few years, then they'd come back and they'd fight. They did this forever, under different names. But basically you had this group, and they'd fight. Then we went in, we obliterated Iraq, and now you have Iran. They had a natural barrier. They were exactly the same militarily. I mean, they would literally fight. Sometimes your line would move 10 feet this way, 10 feet this way, on for many, many centuries, actually. And then we came in and we brilliantly, just absolutely pulverized Iraq and Saddam Hussein, remember? And now we have one power instead of two. The two powers kept each other in check. That's called nature. That's called the way it is, but it's a shame. What's happened is a shame. And Iran is behind this. In case anybody, you know, they don't like to say it because they gave him $6 billion. I heard the trade. I said, finally, we make a trade that's even, because usually we make a trade where, you know, trade of hostages. By the way, I did 58 hostages. We never paid 10 cents because it's a horrible precedent. But I'd always see where they make a trade where, you know, we get 2 people and they get 10 people and stuff like that. I mean, the trade with Russia was a tough trade. They got the world's #1 arms merchant. They call him the merchant of death. They got them. Now we got one person. And then we didn't even get the other gentleman out. They wouldn't even give us the other gentleman. These are the worst negotiators. But I heard this one, 5 for 5. We get 5, you get 5. And I was happy. Then I said, and also the United States will give them $6 billion. I said, that doesn't seem, we get 5, they get $6 billion. It's, and that's nothing compared to what they did, really, because what they did is much worse than that, because we wouldn't allow other countries to buy their oil. We said, if you want to buy their oil, you can, but you can't do business in the United States. That included China. And in addition to that, anything you sell to us, we're going to tariff you like at 100%. So everybody said, well, we didn't buy. So they were broke. If you look at Iran in my last couple of years, they were broke, and they were ready to make a deal. We would have made a good deal for them, for everybody. They would have been happy, okay? They would have been happy, and we would have made a deal. We just want one thing. We want no nuclear weapons. And we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. And they are now weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. And these guys don't even talk about it. And once they have a nuclear weapon, you're not going to be able to even discuss anything with them. They won't even take your phone call. It's so sad because we had them at a point where we could have made any deal I wanted. They were broke. They had no money. In all fairness, China didn't buy anything. Almost any country they didn't buy, because if they bought, we wouldn't have allowed. We told them, you won't do any business. Most of them do a big business in the United States. No business. And we're going to tariff anything you put in. We're going to tariff at 100%. So they stopped buying. And if you look at the oil from 3-4 years ago, they weren't selling anything, and they were, they had no money. And they were willing to talk, and we talked, and they would have made a deal that would have been great for us, and it would have been good for the world, would have been good for them. But then these people came in a very bad way. They came in, and they didn't even pick that up. They didn't pick it up. And immediately they started selling to China. China's buying millions and millions and millions of barrels of oil, and their ships are all over the place. It's incredible to see, and they've become very wealthy. They have over $100 billion now, think of it. So the $6 billion is a lot, but the $6 billion is sort of easy to say because it's so easy to understand, but the oil thing is far worse. Because by allowing them, they took off the sanctions. They still have the sanctions on, but they don't enforce them. Because the sanctions I see in these countries, sanctions are worthless if you don't have a leader that's going to enforce them. So they don't enforce the sanctions that I put on, and they're making a fortune. And they want to come into the war, too. When you see what they say, if you do anything here or anything there, we will come in. And they have a very big army. They have a lot of people, a lot of men, a very big military. And it's very sad when I look at this. This is something that would have never happened, not even a thought. Israel wouldn't have been attacked. You wouldn't have lost all the people that have been lost. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be lost into the future on all sides. And it's a very, very sad thing to see. And it's gross incompetence on behalf of Biden and this crime family of people. It's a crime family. All because of a rigged election, too. Don't kid yourself. And you can say it any way you want. But you look at the numbers. I wish I had a judge that would look at the numbers. It was a rigged election, but now we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. They say, sir, forget it. You can't forget. If you forget, it's going to happen again. We're never going to let it happen again. So you can't forget. You have to learn from history. If you don't learn from history, you're a fool. So I fought for Israel like no president ever before, recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, which is a big deal. And even recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, something that they never even thought. We gave them that. And when I left, Iran was weak and desperate, and they wanted to do, and Joe Biden came along, and he just made them so happy. I wonder if he gets a deal from them, too, like he does from everyone else. You think? So I think there's a substantial chance. I mean, I would say that's... But we stand with Israel, and something's going to happen that... I don't know. I look at the level of ferocity right now, and that didn't exist 3 years ago. It didn't exist because they didn't have the cards. Now they have a lot of the cards, and it's a very, very, very bad thing. I've been telling you for the last year, and did you ever hear the expression, Trump was right about everything? They have that. If you look back, I mean, I don't want to brag here, but I've been right about everything. I've been right about everything. I mean, Putin, and I got along well with the fake news media back there. They would say, oh, it's terrible that he got along. Well, he's got a lot of nuclear warheads and, getting along. But I got along very well with him. He would have never done it for a lot of reasons. Number one, I said, you can't do it, Vladimir, because if you do it, you're going to get hit so hard. Oh. And I don't want to tell you what I said in terms of where he's getting hit, but very hard. And he said, no way. I said, way. No way. No way. And honestly, he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. That was enough. That was enough. He would have never gone in. And, we got along, but he would have never gone in on that. But, where he also wouldn't have gone in, I had oil at $40 a barrel. Now it's $100 a barrel, and it was even $115 when he really started this thing. He was making so much money because the oil was far greater than the cost of a war. Believe it or not, you think war is like so expensive, and it is. And now oil is getting ready to hit another all-time high. And so it's very hard. So that Biden, by stopping all of the energy coming out, he wants to put windmills all over the place. And he wants to do things that are very expensive. But he doesn't want any petroleum. He doesn't want any petroleum product. And he doesn't want oil and gas, although he's taking it from Venezuela. Did you see that? Venezuela was supposed to be the enemy. When I left, I think we would have taken over Venezuela. Now all of a sudden they're selling us. Thank you very much, Venezuela, for selling us your tar. They have not good stuff. And for the environmentalists, they say Venezuela. You know where the only refineries in the entire world that can refine that crap are in Houston, Texas. So it's sent to Houston, Texas. It's tar, and it's very tough, and it's very expensive. But a lot of stuff, if you all believe in that, and we do to a large extent, not, we're not crazy people. We're not going to destroy the country for it. But all of that stuff flows into the air. Now, why would they do that? Very expensive. And we have the best energy. We have the best oil, but we have more oil and gas than any country in the world. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. And we don't touch it. But we'll take filthy, dirty stuff and refine it in Houston. I mean, literally, it's the only plant in the whole world that can refine it. And that's what we do. And we've now taken essentially a dictatorship or whatever you want to call it. A lot of people have left. Very tough place. And we've made them very rich very quickly. Think of it. We've made them rich. They were ready to make any deal I wanted. They were going to make any deal I wanted. We would have gotten freedom over there. But they met very stupid people, and that's what happened. So somebody said to me when I was walking up, would you do the snake? Do you know the snake? Does anybody know the snake? Because, we have a big problem. You probably haven't heard this. We have a big problem with illegal immigration. Has anybody heard about that? We have about 15 million people allowed in our country that shouldn't be here. And many of those people come from mental institutions, and they come from very, very bad places, very bad places. They come from jails and prisons. There's a slight difference between the both, right? Which is worse, a jail or a prison? Perhaps prison. And then they come from insane asylums and mental institutions. Insane asylum is heavy stuff, right? Mental institution is not good. Insane asylum is silence of the lamb, right? Silence of the lamb, that's insane asylum. We're talking about, well, they're insane asylums. A lot of my people say, sir, please don't use the term insane asylum. It's very bad. I said, no, let's tell the truth, right? They're coming from insane asylums. They're coming from mental institutions, and they're terrorists coming. Do you know, in 2019, they did a report. They found no terrorists at all coming through the border. That's with me. 2019, and now they're setting records. They're coming in, and they're coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen, and a lot of them are really bad ones. So we have something called the snake, and it was done a long time ago. It was something that was not meant for this purpose, but it was purpose. It's so incredible how accurate it is, and I'll say it. People find it fascinating. It really relates to the border and the people you let in. And now you can talk about Israel because a lot of the people that are attacking Israel are coming into our country. So what do they have in mind? And a lot of them are young, strong men. I hate to tell you women, there aren't a lot of women. There are a lot of strong, young men. And they're coming in, and I say, be prepared. Be prepared. And hopefully the one thing that we really have to be careful of is World War III, because we're right on the cusp of World War III. We're so close. We're so close. And we have a man who's not an intelligent man. Never was. Never was. He wasn't intelligent 30 years ago in his prime, and he's not intelligent now. And now he's really off. He doesn't know how to get off a stage. No, he gets on a stage. You ever see him walk off? He can't find the exit. Look, you're on a stage, right? I've never seen the stage before. I don't like flies. Do we like flies? I don't like. But no, he's on a stage, and you got a stair and a stair. Usually, typically, you don't have a stair behind, but sometimes you do. But what you do is you look, and you say, there's a stair, too. And the guy I see last night, he finishes the speech. Oh, yeah. And then, thank you. You saw this, right? Thank you. Thank you. He's pointing. He can't find his way. And this is the guy that's in charge of whether or not we're in a nuclear war that's going to obliterate the world. And it's just so bad. I'll tell you what, we got to win this election. If we don't win the election, our country, we're not going to have a country. I mean, just lasting another year is almost impossible to think with the weaponized elections and all the stuff they do. Today, a judge put on a gag order. I'll be the only politician in history that runs with a gag order where I'm not allowed to criticize people. Can you imagine this? Do you believe this? I'm not allowed to criticize people. So we'll see. We'll appeal it, and we'll see. But it's so unconstitutional. The good thing is we have so much support, it's incredible. And it just makes it even more so. Look, I'm the only guy that ever got indicted. I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Did anyone ever hear of Al Capone? If you looked at him the wrong way, he was seriously tough, right? Scarface. You know, they call him Scarface. Had a little scar in there. I'm sure it was a minor accident, but he was Scarface. But Al Capone, if you looked at him in the wrong way, if he didn't like you, you looked at him a little bit askance, he blew your brains out. He was only indicted one time. I've been indicted 4 times. And in addition, I have these civil trials that are all coming out of the Justice Department. They've weaponized the Justice Department and the FBI. They've weaponized, think of it, the Justice Department. This is like a banana republic. But we're going to be okay. The good news is I'm the only one that's ever been indicted where the numbers went through the roof. Because the people understand it. No, it's true. He challenged the election. The election was crooked. They're saying you'd never challenge an election. You're supposed to believe these people, right? How about the 51 intelligence agents that lied? Turned out they lied. How about the FBI Twitter files? All that stuff. All of the votes, if you look at 2,000 Mules, if you look at that, those are tapes of people stuffing ballot boxes. Those aren't people saying, those are tapes. People don't want to hear it. But no, they put a gag order on me. And I'm not supposed to be talking about things that bad people do. And so we'll be appealing very quickly. But, you know, people understand it. And normally if you get indicted, if you're a politician, I've watched it for years, they get indicted and they walk to a microphone about 4 minutes later. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be leaving office to fight for my reputation and spend time with my family. I love my family so much. You know, that they're out, they're gone. With me, I have a big platform so I can explain things. But they want to indict for challenging an election, rightfully challenging. And what about all the people that challenged me in 2016? Hillary Clinton and all these people? You ever hear Maxine Waters? You ever hear her rhetoric? She wants to kill people. You ever hear this stuff? And yet they challenge me peacefully and patriotically. Remember the speech? Peacefully and patriotically. Oh, that's insurrection. That's a horrible thing. Peacefully, and think of it, and then many other things during the course of a period of time. And the truth is, Nancy Pelosi was offered 10,000 soldiers 2 days before the event because I knew it was going to be a big crowd, and she turned them down. She didn't like the look. So it's a disgrace what's happened to our country. But this is a little play on words and concepts, and it's something that's people love. I mean, people love. It's so accurate because it's happening to our country right now. And now you can add in just the illegal immigration. You can see what's going on in the Middle East, and it's really sad and really incredible. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried. I'll take you in and I'll take care of you. Right? That's what we're doing. Come on in. Come on in, everybody. From your prisons, from your mental institutions. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake, vicious, vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying, thank you, ma'am, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. How accurate is that? How accurate. I mean, by the way, that is exact. And people love that. And, you know, they're always like, snake. People hear it sometimes. I don't do it often, but they hear it. They hear it 10 times and they can't get enough of it, but it's true. That's exactly what's happening in our country. That's exactly what's happening. We know people coming in. They're coming in from prisons, a snake. They're coming in from mental institutions, snake. They're terrorists, snake. If you think about it, it's pretty accurate, right? It's pretty sad how stupid our people are. So I just, I'm here to tell you that if we don't win this election, we're going to be in trouble like this country has never been in. Our country is in more danger now than it's ever been. And by the way, excuse me, I have a book loaded up with nice, wonderful, I have a great speechwriter who writes these things, but it's so much more interesting this way, isn't it? And you think Biden can do this? I don't think so. He can't do this. No, he can't read it. He can't read anything. How about the other days at a news conference? He's going to take one question. I used to take 30 questions of the White House from hostile people. I said, why are you so angry? You know, we have a great economy, the anger, the hatred. But the other day, I see, okay, Jim Smith from NBC. Mr. President, could we ask you a question? Yes. And he asks him a question, and then he picks up the book and he reads the answer. They never did that. Did you see that? No, he reads the answer off the book. But I thought the worst, I tell you what, I thought the worst. You have to watch CBS because it can't be, you cannot imitate how bad it was. The questions, they weren't questions. They were questions in the form of, I'm giving you the answer and the question, all you have to do is say yes. It's terrible what's going on, and, you know, we have so much at stake, and we're losing our country. I mean, think of it. Every single thing they've done is a mistake. They have an open border. It's like April Fool's Day. They have an open border. It's April Fool. Who wants an open border? Does anybody? I mean, if you're a super radical liberal, do you really want an open border where millions of people are flooding your country, going in, taking over your schools, your hospitals? You can't get a hospital appointment. The whole thing is crazy. And because he invited him up. See, I invited him not up. I invited him the opposite of up. Once you get up, and now in California with Gavin Newsom, what they're doing, they're giving everybody free education, free this, free that. Who the hell's not coming to the United States? Come to the United States, and we'll give you free education, we'll give you health care, we'll give you everything. In the meantime, our veterans are sitting on streets and not being taken care of, okay? They're sitting on streets. It's so sad to see it. I mean, it's so sad and so pathetic to see it. But we've never, I don't believe we've ever had a time like this. Everything we do is wrong. I mean, you can name any single thing, it's wrong. No voter ID. They don't want voter ID. Why don't you want voter ID? Because we want to cheat on elections. By the way, in all fairness, Democrats want voter ID, but the people that run it don't. Because if you think about it, high taxes, high interest rates, open borders, everything they have is terrible. Nobody can win. Can you imagine we're going to raise your interest rates, right? We're going to have you pay the highest taxes in the history. I gave you the greatest tax cut in history, and they want to double and triple and everything. But who's going to vote for these things? We want a woke military. We want a weak country. We want to be laughed at all over the world. We're laughed at all over the world. He's laughed at all over the world, and he's our representative. They didn't laugh at us. I'll tell you that. They did not laugh at us. We had a case where Macron, a good guy, you know, he's doing his thing from France, doing his thing for his country, and they were going to put a big tax on our businesses, and my people said, sir, they're going to tax our businesses. In other words, if you do business in France, they're going to put a big tax.